going on? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Lion's Den with Seth. I'm your host today, right? Without Herm, he got to take care of some business, but he said he may be tuning in right from the background. But y'all, listen, if this is your first time tuning in, y'all, with the Lion's Den, what we do is we focus on all things leadership, growth, and development with a call to action from the household, all right, to out in the community. And that's what we do. So shout out to everybody that's tuning in right now. Hit the share button, y'all, and just let us know that you're in the building. Rich, what's going on, brother? There you go. Wait, he said he got his snacks. Let's go. All right, y'all. So, y'all ready for this? We're talking about Menopause Manual for men. All right. Yeah, I said it. Now, before you get your panties in the bunch, no pun intended. All right. Before you get your panties in the bunch, y'all, this isn't a conversation about us mansplaining menopause. It's not that. It's not a comparison, just conversations that's not rooted in love. Understand that. However, this is a conversation that we should be able to have in a safe space, no judgment, right? But sharing our experiences. And hopefully someone can pick up something or give something, and it's male or female. But specifically today, we're going to have a conversation with men, okay? With men from a man's perspective, but we're going to go into that a little bit later. But what I want you to do, for those of you that's ready and that's locked in, I want to take a second and share a little clip and to help set the mood from Kevon Stage. All right. Some of you may know about him, but he made a little clip about peripause and menopause. So y'all check this out. Tell me what you think.
Crazy because you'll hear the wildest thing ever and perimenopause be the culprit. Listen to these stories. Did you hear our coochie lips could fall off during this time? Excuse me, what? Nigga, who you telling? I'm horny and I hate people. I'm hot from the inside and it's hot outside. My titties hurt, I'm hungry, and all of a sudden I got a fupa. Where'd that come from? Everybody stank, or is that me? And why is everything so loud? The brain fog, just be talking and forget simple words. Sorry, I can't hear you over how itchy my ears are. Them itchy ears is the thing. Your ears be itching and it's perimenopausal itch. Because what do you mean I'm all itchy all the time? Why are we all waking up at 3 a.m.? Because what do you mean I turned 40 and now I have frozen shoulder? Frozen shoulder, like your shoulder hurt, it be feeling... Insomnia, hot flashes, sweating during sleep, smelling everything a million times more. Oh, and allergies. What in the entire heck? Try going through it. I have to shave my facial hair more than my husband does. Dang. I slept for 1 hour last night. It's horrible. I developed shingles because of fluctuating hormones. Shingles! Insomnia for days, which leads to headaches, which causes migraines. Then I sleep for about 12 hours straight. Also, I cut off 7 inches off my hair. It was irritating my neck. So there's that. I cried inside Chick-fil-A the other day because the baby across from us was sitting in the high chair for the first time, and my daughter is almost 15 and no longer sits in a high chair, and also because it was hot. I'm praying for each and every one of you. Father God, in the matchless name of Jesus.
All right, yo. So, and look, shout out to Herm for sending that, right? So again, y'all, my name is Seth, and we're going to have this conversation. So welcome, y'all. So like I said, today we're going to have a good talk specifically for men, where we're going to go down the road that some of us avoid. Okay. We make wrong turns, but trust me, look, you need to be here for this one. I promise you. Right now, I got a special guest in the den with me. All right. It's a man I'm proud to call a mentor, a brother, and a friend. I want y'all to give it up for Carlos Dunlap-Beard, y'all. Yes. What up, big bro? How you feel?
Yeah, life is good, Seth. Life is real good. Thanks. How about you?
Man, I'm well. So, hey, just tell America a little bit about yourself, brother.
Oh, man. Carlos, born and raised in St. Louis, still here. They won't let me out. For a living, I'm a strategist. I lead a strategy team for a loyalty marketing company out of Connecticut, even though, I work remote, obviously. So I'm a strategist. I'm always trying to think big picture, always trying to think of the future, trying to think of options. If this happens, then what? What about this? And how do we prepare for what may be coming? So that's what I do for a living for my clients as well as for my organization. And then at home, I'm married to a wonderful lady, Alicia, and we have 4 girls, kind of a modern kind of nuclear family. You know, we kind of smashed our family together in 2012. Her 2 girls, my 2 girls, and obviously the 2 of us. Boom, then we added a dog. So so we've been married for I think it'll be 12 years in November. Remarried for both of us. So strong relationship. We were friends for 10 years prior to marriage or intimacy or anything, and I think that helped have solidify our foundation and make for a phenomenal partnership and marriage. As I have told her since we've been together, that loving her is as easy as breathing. I don't think about it. It just happens. It's just there, and it's enriching. It's life sustaining, right? So, that's me. Obviously, I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, 06. And obviously proud to be your friend and brother. That's kind of me, man. I like people. I like friends. I have a diverse group of friends. I like people. I like certain people who I know. I don't generally like all people though. I usually have things to say about stuff. It doesn't make me an expert on anything though.
There you go. I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate it. And again, welcome in the den. Welcome in the den. I'm glad that you're here. So look, man, let's get into it. So we're talking about perimenopause and menopause today. Hey, what up, No Herm? What's up, man? Look, wish you was here for this because we about to get it in. So I know some of us guys, right? And some guys may be listening and that probably just flinched, right? Because they don't know, right? They don't know, but we're experiencing it. But for you, why is this topic important, and why should men in the audience stop what they're doing for real if they can and listen to this conversation?
Yeah, that's a great question, bro. Because one, there are so many things. I don't know where to even start with this because I don't be self-centered like man. Because first things first is this is a big deal. I think this is one of those things that hasn't been talked about nearly as much as it needs to be talked about. It hasn't been studied. It hasn't been researched in a way to find a better way to help women through this. It's always a kind of an experiment. I guess that's why it's practicing medicine. Try this hormone, try this treatment, do this thing, try these beads in your butt. Try this topical, try this holistic thing, try this. And in the meantime, women are suffering through it. And, I guess as a kid, I didn't pay attention to it. My mom was going through it, but as living up close and personal with my wife and seeing her go through it, this is huge, man. This is one of those things she thought, I'll have hot flashes and, that kind of thing. And yeah, of course, have no more cycles or whatever if a woman still, has her uterus and other things going on at that point. But the severity, not the severity, sometimes severity, but the breadth of issues that come along with menopause, like the clip said, itchy ears, itchy eyes, allergies, smelling things differently. People, talk about, she gets moody, like they would say if a woman's on her period, she's more moody and whatever. Or if your body was going through that process and purging, your uterus and, your hormones are spiking, you'd probably be moody too. Body hurts and everything else, you'd be moody too. So, but, hot flashes and everything. And of course the brain fog, and people it seems like it has always been stated that it's a phase and you kind of just get through it, just tough it out, suffer in silence. And I don't think that the medical community, for certain, and maybe that historically women, matriarchs that have, passed down legend and stories and other things to keep the family going, have really shared the actual experience. of what women should expect, because I don't think my wife expected this stuff. Like, I'm quite sure she didn't.
Mm.
And it is tough. It's tough to watch and witness, and because you want to help, but you don't actually know what to do. So you research. I've done a lot of research and just trying to figure out what try to better understand what she's going through, because sometimes she can't even voice it correctly, or sometimes she just doesn't voice it at all. Maybe she's trying to figure it out too. And sometimes I hear her, she'll tell me things. Oh yeah, I went to the doctor and I told him about this, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that was happening. I didn't know she was having an itchy ear. I had no idea. But yeah, she was. That was one of the things. And again, I think the biggest thing for her, though, was the brain fog. It just, for an intelligent, schooled, accomplished professional with her own business, all of a sudden just remembering simple words is just difficult. Water, computer, whatever it might be, is just complicated sometimes. And it is again, as a man, now we'll turn it to men, it's incumbent upon us. I mean, if you care about the women in your life, which hopefully you do, it's incumbent upon us to figure out how to be a good partner, maybe even a better partner.
There you
how
go.
to help them through a difficult process, as we hope they would help us through whatever we're going through. But also there's that other side too, that to help them go through the process, or to live with them as they go through the process and be part of it, we're going through something as well. And
Now, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, and that also can't be ignored. That's all.
There you go. No, I'm glad that you said that. And so, to your point, most of us walk into this blind, right? Because if the conversations aren't having, we may not know how to help.
Correct.
So again, y'all, even though it is the Menopause Manual for men, there is no map to this, right? There's no playbook. It's just seriously a level of confusion, compassion, but also frustration, right?
Yeah.
So as we're talking about this, why do you think it's important for us to have these types of conversations, right, with other men? Why do you think that's important?
Well, that's a great question, because I just stated, it just occurred to me, and I try to always be fair and honest about the things I say, and I try to take accountability for them. So I just said that women, matriarchs, whatever, historically have not passed down that knowledge, or told women, or informed their daughters and granddaughters, or whatever, what to expect. Men haven't done it either. I don't remember my grandfather, or my dad, for that matter, who I talked to earlier today. He never said, "Hey, man, when a woman goes through this, here's what you need to do." Or my uncle, for the most part, also, who's kind of also a father figure to me, my dad's younger brother. We talk about a lot of things, about changes with us, about things, even, about relationships, about life, about politics. But, and we have, for the last 50 years. But this part, how do you be a strong advocate, partner for your woman as she goes through this process that could hopefully be short, but also could be extraordinarily elongated? And how do you make sure you're present for her in the right way? That conversation has never been had either, to my knowledge. I mean, not with me. Let me state that. Or it typically doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm. No, I get that. And so, hey, look, shout out to Rich. He says we have to be more supportive versus solving a problem. Must give an extra dose of grace, and as they experiences those changes. No, I agree. The other part of that is we can only give grace to what we understand.
Yeah.
To a degree, right? Because we got to understand they may not understand what's going on, but we do know that something is changing. Now, we talked about this a little bit in the background, but why do you think some women, not all, but some women are more apprehensive of having the conversation? I believe it's because it could highlight age, right? It can highlight the change, right? You're no longer that spring chicken and things are starting to happen naturally. So, but these are certain signs that you are maturing. Why do you think that this is a taboo conversation?
I think it's difficult because yeah, I think somewhat to the point you made about maybe that it's it's a sign of aging. It's it's men going through midlife crisis and they don't want to go to midlife, but they want to go get the sports car, go get go have an affair with some young chickie, or go get a divorce and go marry some young chickie, some 25, 30-year old, which is ridiculous for my 60-year-old ass to be thinking about something like that, right? So people don't want to face mortality, I guess, in a way. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily the thing, but I'm just saying it is reality. I had a similar conversation last weekend about estate planning and why certain people don't do estate planning and do other stuff. And I said, because that means they have to plan for the end. And people don't want to think about planning for the end. So with this, planning for the change, and acknowledging the change that's going on and is difficult to do. But also many times I think they may not even understand the change that's happening. I mean, they understand it's changing, they understand something's happening, but how do you put voice to it? How do you share it in a way that makes the other person really understand what you're going through? Because it's all internal. I mean, it's not, most of it anyway, it's not anything you can physically see. Maybe you can hear the difference in speech patterns and whatever else, especially with brain fog. And I know I've noticed that with my wife, but, it's communicating it and dealing with it in real time is difficult. And I think more than anything, I think that's one of the lessons I'd say for men. I mean, it's a real time thing, and it's one of those things you have to be observant. You have to give space. You have to give grace. And you got to be patient, man. I think more than anything. I'm sorry, you have something you want to throw in there? Go ahead, bro.
No. You're hitting it. Because I was going to ask prior to, did you ever dismiss symptoms like the fatigue or mood swings or sleeplessness or sleepless nights and just saying, hey, or did you just ask her or just say, hey, you're just being emotional? Like, did you ever?
I would never say that because I probably wouldn't be able to close my eyes comfortably anymore.
Comfortably.
Maybe I won't get a shiv, but I might get a punch or throat chop or maybe a skillet to the head or something.
Right.
But I didn't understand it at the beginning. That's very true. And in fact, when she first started going through it, I think some point last year, last fall, winter, whatever it was, that I really started to notice. I used to kind of laugh at it. I'd laugh at her when she couldn't finish a sentence or forget a word or whatever it might be mostly with the brain fog. Right. I'd joke about her, soaking up the bed through night sweats, which happens,
but need the fan on, but cold at the same time.
Yeah. But it's, and I just deal with it. I got to figure out how to deal with it, layer up, layer off, whatever it might be. But I started to realize that, that a couple of things were happening. That it was real. It wasn't just a blip. That it's here. I hope it's not here to stay. I think she hopes it's not here to stay, but she might be concerned that it's here to stay. And I think part of it is scary. I think it's a scary thing. And as a person I have quite a few phobias, claustrophobia, other kind of phobias.
Do you?
The biggest concern.
Never would have known.
Oh yeah, I don't like tight spaces, MRI machines. Mm-hmm. It's extraordinarily difficult. I can't get through that process without my wife being in the room with me, to be honest with you.
Gotcha.
And some drugs. But one of my biggest concerns, having seen my grandfather, my maternal grandfather go through it, is Alzheimer's, dementia. Losing my mind, just the thought about losing my mind scares me. So realizing that she was going through it and finally maturing enough at the ripe old age of 60 to say, what the fuck are you laughing at, dude? I had to talk to her and I was like, look, man, I'm so sorry. That was not, she never told me not to laugh or anything. But, and I didn't make it like a big spectacle, but just, chuckle a little bit. But still, it occurred to me that this isn't funny. She's probably scared. She's probably wondering, do I have dementia? Is this menopause, or is this, early onset, early onset dementia or Alzheimer's or whatever. So, but regardless though, not being in control of your faculties, man, and not being able to recall something that that this is a phone, but you can't find the word phone. It's just like, damn, how does that happen? And that's scary. That's all. So yeah, I've learned a lot. There's certain things that I've had to adjust to. And the biggest one probably is patience. And I'm really patient. I think patience is like one of my superpowers, to be honest with you. Sometimes even my wife will tell me I'm too patient with people.
Well, hold on. We're going to hit that. Hold on real quick. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, just want to thank y'all for tuning in. Hey, we in here. We're talking about it. Y'all. We're talking about the Menopause Manual for men. Hey, and listen, we make this shit up. Hey, as we go, but no, really, y'all, really full transparency. Please tune in, y'all. Hit the share button. Let individuals know what we're talking about, because we are really diving into it. And how does it look to show up and support that individual the way that you say you would? And here's the deal. They don't even have to be your significant other. What about your mother? What about your sister, family, or just a friend, right? That's going through these things. And Carlos, man, welcome being on, brother. Yes. What's going on, Joy? What's going on? Thank you for joining. And so yeah, we got man's Carlos in the building, y'all. He just hit on something, y'all, that I know I struggle with to a degree, and I'm sure when I get to the ripe age of 60, I would have matured to this space a little bit. Look at Rich saying, "Yeah, I'm with you." He says, "I'm not suffering." Hey, I know that's right. Ain't stuffing you in it. Hey, but y'all, he said something that really makes some sense, and I want y'all to really think about this. But what does patience actually look like for men that's listening right now, especially for you on a hard day, right? Like, think about it. Is it real patience, or is it silent resentment?
Yeah,
You get what I mean?
Yeah. That's something, because that's a good point. Man, there's so many directions I can go here, and I'm probably not going to be able to keep it all straight.
Okay, go ahead.
Right.
Go ahead.
But the silent resentment, let's come back to that one. So the patience part, though, is extremely important. Like I said, I've always thought it was like a superpower I have, to be patient with people, let them get through it, let them do it. Whatever it might be, give them some space and grace. But I think my patience was built like for the Lizard or the Sandman, or to go on Spider-Man references, Doc Ock, right? But this menopause thing, especially the brain fog and the hormonal changes and kind of the mood swings and things, I think that's like Thanos level stuff. It has raised the villainy, to a degree that I've got to stretch now. I got to work out harder. I got to figure out how to be better at being patient. And it doesn't mean ignoring my own feelings, right? It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean accepting hurtful behavior, without discussion. Now, you may not want to discuss it at the time, but without some discussion, and it doesn't mean that pretending that this transition is not affecting me, because it does. It's affecting me. There are times that, I've never felt this way with my wife or in our house, but there are times I'm kind of uncomfortable because I'm not sure what to do. And I've never been a not knowing what to do kind of guy, or, especially if there's something that needs to be done, but what to do? Should I do something? Should I just fall back? But it does mean, slowing down my immediate reactions to stuff. Just take a beat, take a beat and considering what might be happening underneath, or what may be happening to her in that moment. And also, it means, maybe, again, as I said, you may not want to discuss at the time. So again, taking that beat and discuss it later when it's not personally or emotionally overwhelming. And maybe, the biggest thing is remembering that you're teammates, you're partners, and not like opposing counsels or something, or rivals. It's because this is where I was going to go with the next thing, is that because the thing that I've based and I've been able to rely on in our relationship, our friendship, our relationship, and our marriage, is that I trust her intentions. I don't doubt her intentions. So even if she does something I don't understand, something I don't even like, right? Something that I wouldn't have done that. I trust her intentions, that her intentions are good for me, for her, for us. So therefore it does allow me to pause. I don't think her intentions have changed. I don't think her intentions rather have changed at all. But I think that now she has something really big she's dealing with, and may not always be able to express it, may not always be able to do what she used to do, may not always be as on point as she's always been, because again, she's got a big friggin' anchor or weight that she's carrying right now, mentally and physically, spiritually. It's a lot. It really is a lot, man. And it's, so again, this isn't about me. It isn't necessarily about men going through the change, but it is about, again, at least in my opinion, helping our women process through this journey in the best way possible, because you're hoping on the other end that the relationship is not fractured, torn, destroyed, or any other way negatively impacted, that you maintain that solid relationship that you had going into it.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean though that there won't be changes, because relationships change because people change. We were all young bucks out doing the stuff, just like, hey, let's get up, let's do it, let's hit it, let's have sex like 5 times a day, whatever it might be. These times, I might have 5 minutes for you this week, and that's, I'm pooping.
Hey, you spent.
It's like, girl, I'm gonna give you the best 5 minutes I can do this week, and then after that, baby, I'm sorry.
Hey, guess what? Hopefully you make it with me.
Yeah, exactly.
But look, I'm gonna ask you this though, man. I'm glad you kind of brought that up. But when intimacy shifts or even slow down, was there a time when you took it personal, or did you approach it with curiosity and compassion? And look, the reason why I'm asking you this is, look, y'all, just taking a real moment. This is the reason why we have conversations in the den like this. It's not just for sound bites. It's not just for views or anything like that. But this is really how you can learn and develop with individuals that's either been through it or going through it, so you don't have to go through it in a crazy way, right? Ruin a relationship, or, that relationship that's now been severed. But you know what I mean? How do you mend that? So I'm asking this question for you, but for individuals that truly wants to know, because it's a part of it. It could be a part of it, right? So when that intimacy, like I said, slowed down or shifted, like, how did you approach it, especially when you're ready?
Yeah. Well, that is a thing. That is a real thing. And initially, I'll just speak from personal experience. I was confused. I was like, what's happening? Why have we not been all on each other, in the last, few weeks or days or months, whatever it is. I hope so.
I'm here. I'm still here.
Okay. All right. So you just disappeared off my screen. But and yeah, it made me wonder. It made me question, like, damn, maybe I'm not attractive anymore. I put on some weight. I got, my hair had gotten all gray and such, and maybe, I don't work out as hard. My muscles aren't as firm as, hard as they used to be. I'm not strong as I used to be. I don't have, as I mentioned before, maybe I don't put out the same amount of energy I used to be. So maybe that's not attractive. But ultimately, though, because I usually take a moment to reflect on most things that happen to me or that I do or that I say. I'm going to reflect on this podcast probably for weeks. Just
Are
like,
you serious?
I probably should have said that. I did this. I probably should have done that. Oh, I forgot to make this point. It's going to happen. It always happens to me.
Right.
But, but ultimately, I realize it's not about me.
There you go.
Yeah, maybe something about me, but really, it's not about me. I think it's true that when women start going through menopausal change, at least that's what I hear, and that's some studies I've read, I've done some secondary research on it. But the sexual drive, it diminishes, if not completely, disappears. What do you do about that? I mean, sometimes it's there. Yeah, cool. We let's do it. And most times, maybe it isn't there. And you as a man, you just got to deal with it. You got to deal with it. And try to figure out another way to be intimate. Try to figure out, another way to become more interesting and attractive that makes her oh, okay, come on, I'm gonna chop you down, big boy. Come over here. But it initially, yeah, I was a bit, awestruck and confused by it. Maybe initially even also a little hurt by it. If I might be, totally honest, it was like, oh, because being, I'm kind of a big guy, 6'4", 275, not unfortunately not all muscle, but but fairly, decent shape, and I'm thinking, oh man, I think, am I not attractive anymore? It was kind of hurtful, but again, realizing it's really not about me. Doesn't necessarily make all the concern about me personally, go away. But I understand that, again, it's not about me.
Well said. Well said. And the fact that you are able to differentiate that is important. And I believe that you need to have that, especially if it's not being communicated. Or sometimes we can hear it, or you can hear it. Yeah, look, it's not about you, but I can't really explain it. And then with us being fixers, well, if you can't explain it, you get what I mean? You can do something.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? But
Yeah.
it does take patience. So shout out to everybody that's listening right now. Rich says many men fail to realize it's not about them. No, absolutely. But I mean, if you think about it, though, that's ego. All right.
Oh, absolutely.
We're
Absolutely.
fixers. So if I can't fix it, then something's wrong with me.
Yeah. Yeah. And not to mention, it's like, hey, I just got hit on by the chick at the supermarket. And I was, there, buying all these wonderful groceries to come home and cook for you. And so she liked me. How come you don't like me? And then some men can spiral on that, right? You can spiral on that. You can fixate on it. You can go out and try to find affection elsewhere, which, is just not interested in that. Right. Not to mention, because it depends on the value you place on your relationship, right? Because if you really are into your woman and she's into you and you communicate, you vibe, you do all that, what is worth screwing that up? Because finding a relationship like that, it ain't easy.
Yeah. Right.
And it's, and when you find it and it works, and as I told you, man, loving my woman's as easy as breathing. So I don't have to think about it. It just happens. Our vibe is good. Right now, there are moments when it's not good, and it's not, and it may be in my head. It may be just me reacting emotionally to stuff. Maybe because she didn't respond to me or she didn't look at me. But sometimes I'm talking to her, she's not hearing me, and she's right next to me. And because I think either she's reading something on her phone or she's in her own head, her own voice is playing. She's probably trying to figure something out. And me speaking off to her right, just not even in her consideration set. So, and I could be hurt by that, or I could just say, "Hey, babe, did you hear what I said?" "Oh, what?" She's like, "What? What did you say? You said some words?" I'm like, "Yeah, we're right here. I was just talking to you." So that's stuff. It happens, man. It is. It doesn't, but it doesn't change. Again, it doesn't change how I feel about my woman. It doesn't change my desire to want to be there for her. I mean, I was serious when I took the vows. I was serious when I just told her, um, that, hey, I'm here for you today, tomorrow, forever. As long as I'm breathing, I got you. Nothing's changed about that.
See,
Not a single thing.
absolutely. Hey, shout out to Elias. You see him? You see what he say? He says, my wife finds it very interesting that we're discussing women's issues. Look, that's the whole point. We going through it too, if you think about it, right? Indirectly. So that brings me to this question though, Los. Who in your life, okay, prior to us having this conversation, but who in your life have you ever talked man to man about supporting your partner through this? And I think that's the issue, y'all. Shout out to everybody again that's tuning in. Hit the share button, y'all. But we're I don't know how we're really having these conversations. You get what I'm saying? So my question is to you and to the audience. Who do you talk to? Who have you talked to that can be this transparent and open about?
You mean besides you?
Yeah.
Because you and I've had some conversations offline about it.
Yeah.
Again, I mentioned earlier my uncle, my father figure in the Minneapolis. He's been with me for 50 plus years, and he's been there all my life. But I've been having these conversations forever, and even to this day, because he's like 19 years older than me, and what I'm going through is stuff he's been through. So he likes to give me counsel and guidance. Let me, help me think through options, whatever. And not just about, this particular issue, but just about life. There are some colleagues I work with whose spouses were similar ages were going through it. So we talk about it sometimes, never discussing any intimate details or anything, but just knowing that, hey, you're not alone going through this, or not alone trying to support your woman who's going through this, which, by the way, that means you're going through it too on the outside. But there are people now I have, and not for this particular reason, but because I've noticed a shift in the relationship. Plus, shift, that doesn't mean bad, but there are changes. There's pressure at work, and not to mention the way this country and world is all jacked up. I have thought about going to see a counselor again. I mean, I saw a counselor for the first time, 30 so years ago.
Yeah, that's good. That's
good.
good.
And it was a game changer for me, because I was thinking, man, is it time to check out of this world? I am so over this place, these people. And this marriage was my first marriage. That process and then subsequent processes, especially when I got, first one was like an EAP, employee assistance program. You get 4 visits or 5 visits.
Yeah, for free. Yeah.
I did that, but then that got me onto counseling, and then I found a permanent one for years. A gentleman by the name of Melvin Tan.
Nice.
And he helped me through a very difficult part of my life. And so, but after that, I haven't really seen a counselor. So I was thinking, maybe it's time to do that again and sort some stuff out, because there are a lot of sleepless nights. And it's not about, my wife going through menopause. It's just, being a husband, being a parent, being a Black man in America, working in a high stress job, and then of course the way the world seems like it's imploding. That's a lot, and that kind of keeps me up at night sometimes.
Yeah,
because I'm a strategist. I'm trying to find avenues through. I'm trying to figure out what the future looks like. I'm trying to understand what happens if we go left versus what happens if we go right versus what happens if we keep going ahead, or should we back up? And then how do I reconcile those things? And my mind just doesn't shut off. So even with this, it's my mind doesn't shut off. I woke up at 3 this morning thinking about this and started just thinking, okay, what would I talk about? What can I say? Because to Elias's wife's point, it's interesting that we're having this conversation. It's interesting we're discussing women's issues, but I think we're using this women's issue as the foundation for us talking about how we support our women. Regardless, we could be talking about supporting them through childbirth, or supporting them through job change or job loss, supporting them through the loss of a parent. We can talk about any of that stuff because it's still incumbent upon us to be there for them and to help them navigate this thing as best we can. Yeah, I'm not an expert. You're not an expert on menopause. I'm not a medical professional. I get all that. But I don't think you have to be to have compassion, to have empathy, and to live into not just the vows you make, because vows are vows, they're words, but to the commitment that you made to each other and that you feel to each other. And that doesn't preclude or exclude any conversation in my mind.
Well said. I couldn't have said it any better, because we knew that this was going to be hot, right? And only because I think, not necessarily because it's something that we should be able to talk about, but there's so many, it's polarizing conversations, right, that can divide people. However, how do we have the conversation to bring people together? And you hit on some things that's very true. Myself, I also think a lot. I can't help it, right? Sometimes I just need help to not to think so much.
Ain't that the truth?
Right. And so being I wouldn't even call it overthinker. It's just sometimes you wanted to kind of relax. And so even when we're having this conversation about perimenopause, menopause, we want to understand it so we can help. Right. Yep. And even by having conversations like this, I truly do believe it helps to gauge, right? Like, I really do believe this is the iron sharpening iron to even you challenging me, not directly, but indirectly, my emotional regulation when it comes down to connecting with a woman, period, regardless of how she show up in my life, but to understand that if she's not responding in a way that I think she should, what happens when she don't? How do I respond versus react? You get what I mean? In a mature, manly, but still compassionate way, right? As a grown man, right? So now here's a good question, man. And I really want our audience to think about this, because it can seem as though it's been one-sided. However, if the roles were reversed, fellas, and your body was changing, right, in ways that you couldn't control, how would you want to be treated? Ain't that a bitch? Think about it. Yeah. How would you want to be treated? Like, yes, I'm still sexy, right? Or no? Or am I? Right. And especially if you're in a space with someone that have seen you at your best.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? So how would you want to be treated? So what you think, brother?
Yeah, I would think if the roles were reversed, we would, well, here's the thing, the roles won't be reversed, because there's more time, attention, medical research, all that stuff done for men than there are for women. Men, we go through changes, right? Maybe we're not as hard as we used to be, so we take a pill. Maybe our testosterone is dropping off. Testosterone levels are dropping off, so we get a shot, or we take a pill, or we rub on the cream. So we can feel young and vigorous again. And so the blue pill, the yellow pill, whichever pill you're taking, now it's got you rock hard, man. You're like, yeah, look at me, I still got it. See, men stuff gets to get masked over so easily, so much easier than women's stuff. And so I would like to think though that I would be given the grace and the empathy and the compassion to say, and my wife would say to me, baby, I got you through this journey. I've always got you, you know. Sorry, I get a little choked up here. But the you know, just like I've got her, you know, I would think and I know she would have me. In fact, I know that I'm in a room full of people and was somehow being threatened, my wife will come in and blow everybody away before they put a finger on me. I know she's got me. You know, if I was over at the Plex, which, you know, I was over in East St. Louis, for anybody who doesn't know, and we were wilding out and I got all intoxicated, I could call her at 2 a.m. and she would get up out of the bed, come get me, because she would much rather I come do that than to try to drive home. She's got me. She's that kind of person. She's got me. So I never have to worry about that. And I just hope she's not worrying about that. But then also, I don't know if I'm doing anything right or everything right or nothing right or a few things right and most things wrong. Because, you know, I just, you know, sometimes I don't know where I stand. So yeah, it's like I'm guessing, I'm trying to give grace. If I help you, is that wrong? Or if I stand back, is that wrong? If, you know, and I think it depends on the situation, right? And then if I, you know, if you're telling me stuff, do you want me to be in active listening mode and just listen? Or do you want me to be in help mode?
Bro, man, hey, stop. But I feel you because it's like, right? Because you want it like, and then if I don't know how, now I need to learn how. But then when I learn how, I'm not doing it right.
Right.
But you don't know how to express it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing, man. It's not, you know, and again, it's not to say, oh, woe is me, woe is me. Never figure it out. But we want to do the right thing. At least I want to do the right thing. You want to do the right thing. I think most times we want to do the right thing. We just don't know what that right thing is. So, you know, you kind of experiment with this. Nope, that wasn't it. Try it. Nope, that wasn't it. You know, and sometimes, again, sometimes she may not even know, right? She may not even know what she needs from you. She just needs you, you know, and then sometimes she needs you to take a step back. Sometimes she needs you to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes she needs you to not mansplain, which a couple of times just this week.
You did it.
Including this morning, I was trying to tell her something. She's like, I know how to do this. I'm like, oh shit. You're right. Mansplaining, that's on me. Right. That's on me. I thought I was being helpful, but I was overstepping. And she checked me on it. And I was like, okay, cool. My feelings didn't get hurt. I'm like, yeah, that was bad. That was on me. I assume you didn't know what you were trying to accomplish. Because we're redoing a powder room, our powder room on the first floor. And no, this is her vision and dream. I mean, I'm doing a lot of the labor. She's doing the painting. So then when all that's finished, I got to put all the stuff back, the toilet, the new cabinet, the new mirror, new light fixture, all that stuff. So I was trying to explain something to her about painting. She's like, I got this. I'm like, you're right. You do have this. We've painted enough in this house that we know, you know what you're doing. Back it off. Let me go out and do the lawn like I was supposed to do and get that out of the way. So yeah, there's just times, man, you know, you just have to know that, you know, she needs a safe space. You need to give her space. You also need a safe space. And sometimes that safe space may be in another room, another level of the house, another place for a minute, you know, and that's okay. That's okay, man. If you're not vibing, there's no sense to just sitting side by side being annoyed or whatever, or being confused or being frustrated. You know, if she needs a minute, she needs a minute. And I'm, you know, I'll head down here to the basement, you know, throw a movie on or, you know, grab a bourbon, usually both, you know, or, you know, get on the computer, do some work or whatever else I'm doing, or try to solve a problem that's been circling around in my head, and just give her space. And then we'll reconnect later. You know, I'm not leaving you. I'm never leaving you, but I'm going to give you space right now because obviously, you know, there's something going on, and, you know, that we're not vibing. I'm frustrated, and I'm not frustrated at her. I'm not frustrated. I'm frustrated because I'm used to being able to figure shit out. I'm a pretty. I mean, I'm not the smartest motherfucker, but I'm pretty smart,
Yeah.
right? So, and you know, and I usually can figure things out. I can pick up a few clues and I can come up with an answer. Which, you know, again, is another kind of cool power, but superpower. But but this one I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out. And I could, you know, again, I could research the heck out of stuff. I could read everybody else's experiences, but the only one going through her experience is her.
There
And
you
her
go.
experience is different. And again, women aren't monolithic, that they don't all go through the process the same way. Some women it's a month, some women it's 6 months, some women it's a year. Some women have brain fog and it goes away. Some women have brain fog and it never goes away.
Right.
You know, so it is different by person and how they deal with it, their physiology, what else are they going through. You know, there's just a lot to it. I think as men, we are fortunate in a way that one, we don't have children, because I'm telling you, for if the world relied on men to have children, there would be no baby. We would go extinct. There'd be no babies, you know, because we ain't built for that. We ain't going through that stuff. We didn't carrying a baby inside you, you know, for 9 months and then having it come out. You know, that little vagina, like, nah. You know, I don't understand how women, when their you know, kids grow up, they don't just smack them,
Right.
you know, for putting them through the trauma. You know, but you know, so if it was up to men, it wouldn't happen. And you know, and so going through this process again, I don't know if men are strong enough to go through it. To be honest with you, and I know we're strong. Let me understand. We're physically strong. We mean mentally strong. We're alpha man. You know, we're nothing I can't do. Okay, cool. But you can't give birth to a child. You wouldn't. You know, you cry when you pass a kidney stone. You know, you couldn't deal with the year long or process of going through, you know, menopause. You couldn't even deal with the however long of a process in the perimenopause stage when, you know, hormones started to fluctuate.
That's right.
And changes started to happen, and they started to notice. Yeah, men would just start freaking out. Right? Give me a pill, doc. I need a pill to fix it. You know, so no, you know, hats off to women. And again, I'm not trying to tell women how to live. I'm not even trying to tell men how to live. I'm just saying, here's some things I've noticed. If you find something interesting, cool. If you don't, I'm sorry, and I definitely don't mean to offend. But I'm also not apologizing either, because this is life, man. And I think more than anything, we don't talk about the shit that needs to be talked about. You know, here's another thing too. I know this is long, but I'm gonna be very quick about this. I know we're long in this podcast, but I know I said menopause. You know, at least my understanding, based on what I've researched, read, whatever, is menopause. It happens differently for different women, different, you know, lengths of time, whatever. But it is a chapter, and it's not her identity, right? It's a chapter. It's affecting how she lives and what's going on, but it's not who she is. And you know, and so I try to say when something happens, I'm just like, oh, that's menopause. Oh, that's menopause. That's menopause talking. She's frustrated with me. That's menopause talking. She's angry with me. That's menopause talking. No, I may have just done some stupid shit and she's pissed. You know, menopause, no menopause. She's still gonna throat chop me the next time she gets close enough. You know, so I'm always on guard and I gotta be quick around her.
Right.
You know, she's small but mighty, man. Like freaking throat chop comes up quick. You know, so but she's still entitled to have, you know, legitimate concern, objection, or bad day. You know, you can't just blame everything on menopause. Sometimes it's just life, or it's just you, or it's just life and you. And
at the same time.
And a customer who just asking for stupid shit, and
that's right.
You know, that kind of stuff. You know, so it does influence moments, but it doesn't invalidate what's going on, right? And it doesn't reduce her, you know, to just hormones or symptoms. You know, so I think more than anything, as a man supporting a woman through the process, you know, you don't have to constantly remind her that she's changing, because she knows that shit. You know, she needs to know that those changes have not made her less loved, less appreciated, less valued, or less herself, right? That you still got her. And that's that's all you can do for people who are going through something, man, is say, I've got you. I'm here for you. You know, I may not know always what to do, so sometimes you got to speak up and tell me. Otherwise, I'm going to try to help in the best way I can, and you have to say yay or nay at that moment.
Well said. Absolutely. And that's in line with Rich said. He says sometimes there's no right or wrong answer. It's being present and listening. So y'all, we're going to give y'all we're going to bust some myths, okay? Bust some myths. So here's one. Menopause happens overnight. No. Okay, so perimenopause, the transition leading to menopause, can last anywhere from 4 to 15 years. Did y'all know that? So it's a slow shift and not a switch that's flipped. And like we were talking about earlier, it may not switch back. Okay, so that's something. That's another thing. And how about this? Another myth. It only happens to older women. No. Right? Because perimenopause commonly starts in women early as mid-30s. Okay? Mid-30s. So, and the average age for menopause in the United States is 51, but the road there starts much earlier. And for African-American women, up to 15 years early. Okay? Outside of all nationalities. Who knows? It's just a phenomenon. But now here's another one. Now tell me if you knew this one. All right, Los, that it's not just hot flashes. Hot flashes. So that's what it means, right? That's the myth is it's just hot flashes, but hot flashes are just the headlines where there's over 30 recognized symptoms. Okay, 30, y'all. So we talked about the brain fog, anxiety, joint pain, mood changes, heart palpitations. Did you know that? So roughly 75 to 80% of women experience hot flashes and night sweats, and many last for years. Did you know that about the heart palpitations?
I didn't know that, but I did know about the joint pain, and I didn't know that until my wife came back from a most recent visit, like 2 or 3 years ago. She went 2 or 3 weeks ago. I'm sorry. She went to see a specialist. And she was talking about that, and he was like, "Yeah, joint pain, and I think it was an itchy ear were 2 symptoms, and she had no idea they were connected to menopause."
Yeah, and here's another one. It really doesn't affect her work or daily life.
Bullshit.
Look, so brain fog and fatigue is real, y'all. So
you can turn it off when you go to work.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. Like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you can turn it off while you're cooking dinner for the kids, but then once your husband or whatever. But once you finish that, then boom, it just comes back up. Absolutely. No, that's not. Yeah, that's crazy talk.
Absolutely. So, but man, outside of that, brother, we can go on. There's so many different myths, but hopefully, those that has been listening and been a part of the conversation, you got something out of it. Maybe something not new, but just maybe something communicated, a little different. So, Los, man, give you 1 minute, man. Anything you want our audience to know, man, you got the floor, brother. What you got?
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything I can say in a minute that's worthwhile except that, again, no, seriously, man, it takes me 5 minutes to say hello, you know that. But again, not trying to talk down to women, not trying to say I understand this better than women or anybody, because I don't. Again, but I do understand compassion and empathy. I do understand relationships and marriage, and I do understand that being there for somebody is not only when it's easy. I do know that. So I don't know a lot of shit, but I know that. I know that there are difficult times come. And whether you make it or not is up to how committed you are to each other. Absolutely. And so, stay the course. Give the patience and the grace. Make sure you also take care of yourself. If you need a moment, you need to go hang out with the boys and drink some beer and eat some wings and vent a bit. But don't do it about your woman necessarily. But just vent about life or whatever. Do that. But then bring your ass back home. Make sure she's good and keep it moving.
There you go, man. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, thanks, Los. or open this discussion and this topic. No, absolutely. So, hey, and look, don't go anywhere, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, check this out. We had a great conversation. Hopefully you got some news that you can use from this conversation. Hit the share button, or don't forget, let everybody know where they can listen to the Lions Den with Seth, y'all. This is going to be available on all platforms, podcast platforms. And again, this isn't anything to kind of blame shift or, say we got all the answers. It's not. We here, we care, but we want to learn, and we want to learn from each other. Okay. So make sure you take care of yourself. Shout out to y'all. Y'all have a great week, and tune in next week. Right on.